Hello everyone, welcome to Domain 4 of the CISSP Practice Questions and Answers. In this domain we'll be covering communication and network security. And right now we'll start with the questions. Which type of routing protocol handles routing between the routers within an enterprise? A. BGP, B. PGP, C. Exterior Gateway Protocols or EGP, D. Interior Gateway Protocols or IGP. The answer will be option D. The Interior Gateway Protocol is basically designed to handle routing within a single autonomous system, which is like an enterprise network. Now, this protocol ensures that the routers within the same organization can efficiently share routing information between them and determine the best path for the data packets to go through. So that's why we're going with Interior Gateway Protocols. Question 2. Which layer of the OSI model is responsible for defining the rules of a session? Option A, Transport Layer. Option B, Network Layer. C, Session Layer. D, Application Layer. Now, if we read the question again, it should already give us a clue of what the answer should be. And if you guessed right, it's option C, the session layer. The session layer is basically responsible for establishing, managing, and terminating sessions between two communicating devices. It sets up, coordinates, and terminates conversations, dialogues, and exchanges between the applications at each end. The session layer also ensures that the session is maintained. It manages the dialogue control as well as establishing a checkpointing and recovery mechanism in the event that an interruption occurs. So the answer here is option C, session layer. Question 3. In the context of network security, which of the following protocols is least likely to be used to securely transmit sensitive information? Option A, FTP or File Transfer Protocol. Option B, SSH or Secure Shell. Option C, SNMP version 3. Option D, HTTPS. Now, before I reveal the answer, let's go through the options again. Option B, C, and D, if we look at them properly, we can see that they are very secure means of transmitting sensitive information. B is Secure Shell Protocol. C is SNMP version 3, which is highly secure. D is HTTPS, which is the secure form of the HTTP. So the answer here will obviously be option A, File Transfer Protocol. This protocol is an older protocol that transmits data in plain text, which means that both data and commands that are sent are not encrypted. Therefore, it makes it insecure for transmitting sensitive information because it can easily be intercepted and read by anyone who has access to the network. Question 4. Which type of routing protocol handles route traffic between two separate organizations? Option A, RIP. B, PGP. C, Interior Gateway Protocol. D, Border Gateway Protocol. The answer here is option D. The Border Gateway Protocol is designed to manage how packets are routed from across the internet through the exchange of routing information between autonomous systems. Autonomous systems are basically large networks or a collection of networks that are managed by a single organization or entity. So it is a protocol that is used to route traffic between different organizations or different parts of the organization's network. So the answer here is BGP. Question 5. Which layer of the TCP IP model converts bits into communication? A, Internet layer. B, Physical layer. C, Network access layer. D, application layer? The answer is option C. The network access layer, also known as the link layer, is basically responsible for the physical transmission of data over a network. Now, it encompasses both the data link layer and the physical layer from the OSI model. And that means it deals with hardware addresses, network topology, and how data is physically sent through the network medium like cables or radio waves. Now, this layer ensures that data is correctly encoded into bits and transmitted over the physical medium. So, it's the network access layer that converts bits into communication. Question 6. Which solution is recommended to manage devices of employees accessing the corporate network from their personal phones or computers? A. Firewall. B. DHCP. C. Network access discovery. D. Network access control. We are going with option D, and I'll explain why. The network access control involves authentication mechanisms, endpoint security checks, and policy enforcement. Now, this is done to validate the security posture of devices before granting access. So when employees have their personal devices, especially when they are outside the office environment, this network access controls ensures that before any data is accessed, the subject, which is the person trying to access, must have full authentication and authority to view such data. So it goes through authentication mechanisms, endpoint security checks, and enforces policies in order to validate the security posture of the device and then granting access to the subject. Question 7. In a distributed denial of service attack mitigation strategy, what is the most important goal during detection and response phase? A. Collecting evidence for legal prosecution. B. Mitigating the attack and restoring services. C. Blocking traffic from known malicious IP addresses. D. Identifying the source of the attack traffic. The answer here is option B, and I'll do a quick explanation. The question says, what is the most important goal? So in this case, it will be to mitigate the attack and then restore services. The primary objective of this phase is to minimize the impact of the attack on the organization's services and infrastructure. And this involves implementing measures to mitigate the attack in real time, like deploying filtering mechanisms to block malicious traffic, diverting traffic through DDoS mitigation services, or even scaling up resources to absorb and handle the attack traffic. Question 8. As the Chief Technology Officer at a data-intensive AI research facility tasked with upgrading the server infrastructure to meet the demands of increasingly complex computational tasks, which technology is designed to improve the efficiency of connections between CPUs and high-end peripherals, supporting the rapid processing requirements of your facility? A. Compute Express Link. B. Peripheral Component Interconnect Express or PCIe. C. Direct Memory Access or DMA. D. InfiniBand. The answer here is option A, the Compute Express Link. This is a high-speed interconnect protocol designed to enable efficient communication between CPUs and accelerators or high-speed peripherals such as GPUs, FPGAs, and AI accelerators. Now, this Compute Express Link provides low latency, high bandwidth connectivity, and allows for seamless integration of heterogeneous computing resources. It also supports the demanding computational tasks typically found in AI research facilities. Question 9. An organization has procured a new customer relationship management system. that is used to store customer names and telephone numbers and also track customer interactions and sales. Who is the owner of the data stored in the CRM system? A. Data steward. B. Information technology director. C. Business manager. D. Data custodian. If we go through the question and the different options that has been listed, for a data steward, that is just someone that is responsible for the quality and governance of data, ensuring that data policies and standards are followed. The Information Technology Director oversees the IT infrastructure and system, but does not own the data itself. For the data custodian, that is only responsible for the technical environment and database management. And the data custodian ensures that data is stored and protected properly. However, that is not the owner of the data content. The owner here will be the business manager, option C. The business manager is the one that oversees the operations that rely on the CRM data. That means they are responsible for the data's overall quality and governance. So the business manager ensures that the data supports business needs and also aligns with organizational goals. So that is why the business manager is the data owner of the CRM system. Question 10. What is the purpose of network address translation in network security? Option A. To hide the IP addresses of devices on a network from external networks. Option B. To encrypt data transmitted between devices on a network. Option C. To monitor network traffic for potential security threats. D. To authenticate users connecting to a network. Now, what is network address translation? It operates by modifying the source or destination IP addresses of packets as they pass through a firewall or router, and also it allows multiple devices on a local network to share a single public IP address. Now, it does this by hiding the internal IP address of devices behind a single public IP address. So with this explanation, the answer will be option A. The NAT hides the private IP address behind a single public IP address, so it enhances the network security by hiding the internal network structure from external networks. This prevents direct access to internal devices from external sources and thereby reduces the likelihood of potential attacks and unauthorized access. So that is the primary purpose of NAT, or network address translation, in network security. Question 11. In a multi-tier application architecture, which of the following layers is most vulnerable to injection attacks such as SQL injection and command injection? Option A, transport layer. B, application layer. C, data link layer. D, transport layer. The answer here will be option B. For this question, I'll just give a brief explanation. SQL injection and command injection, they typically target the application layer because this is where all user inputs are processed. If proper validation is not implemented, malicious inputs can be used to manipulate the application's interaction with databases or operating systems, and this could lead to unauthorized access or control over the application's data and functions. Similarly, in command injection attacks, malicious commands are injected into input fields or parameters of applications that execute system commands, and this enables attackers to execute arbitrary commands on the underlying system. In SQL injection attacks, malicious SQL queries are injected into the input field and this allows attackers to manipulate the underlying database or even modify sensitive data. So it is at the application layer that it's the most vulnerable in a multi-tier application architecture. Question 12. What cryptographic protocol is commonly used for securing email communications? A. TLS, B. IPsec, C. PGP, D. SNMP. The answer is option C. The PGP is a widely used cryptographic protocol for securing email communications. This is because it provides encryption and digital signatures to ensure the confidentiality and integrity of email messages. Question 13. You are the information security manager for a multinational corporation with offices in multiple countries. The organization uses a global MPLS or multi-protocol label switching network to connect all its offices, ensuring secure and effective communication. Recently, there has been a concern about the security of this network, particularly regarding eavesdropping and data interception. Which of the following measures would best address these security concerns for your global MPLS network? Option A. Implementing end-to-end encryption for all data transmitted over the MPLS network. Option B. Increasing the MPLS bandwidth to deter eavesdropping attempts. C. Deploying intrusion detection systems at each MPLS endpoint. D. Replacing MPLS with a public internet-based VPN. For the MPLS or multi-protocol labeling switching, it is better to implement end-to-end encryption to ensure that the data is encrypted before it is transmitted over the network, and it will remain encrypted until it reaches its destination. That's why we're going with option A. To further buttress that point, I'll just add one more thing before we go to the next question. Implementing the end-to-end encryption prevents eavesdroppers and malicious actors from being able to read the data, even if it is intercepted during transmission. That's why we are going with that. So, the measure that will best address the security concern is to implement end-to-end encryption for all data being transmitted over the MPLS network. Question 14. Which technology connects each node directly to every other node in the network? Option A, bus. Option B, star. Option C, ring. Option D, mesh. If we read the question again, it says which network topology connects each node directly to every other node in the network. So our answer is going to be option D. In the mesh network topology, every node is connected directly to every other node in the network, and this forms a fully interconnected network. If we look at the diagram also attached there, you can see that each node on the network is directly connected to every other node in the interconnected network. So that is the mesh topology. Question 15. As the Chief Information Security Officer of a large multinational corporation with offices in various countries, there has been some concerns about the security of the organization's remote access systems, especially for employees working from home due to the COVID-19 pandemic. Your team has identified several vulnerabilities in the remote access infrastructure. Which of the following actions will be the most effective in enhancing the security of a remote network access, given the scenario? Option A, disabling remote access altogether to minimize security risk. Option B, using a publicly available remote desktop application. Option C, implementing a VPN with multi-factor authentication. Option D, requiring employees to use their personal devices for remote access. The answer we are going to go with here is option C. A VPN encrypts all data transmitted between the employee's device and the corporate network, and thus it provides a secure tunnel that protects against eavesdropping and man-in-the-middle attacks. Implementing the VPN with multi-factor authentication. The multi-factor authentication adds an extra layer of security by requiring not just a password, but also an additional factor like a mobile authentication app or a hardware token. This significantly reduces the risk of unauthorized access, even if a password is compromised. So, implementing a VPN with multi-factor authentication is the most effective in enhancing the security of the remote network access given this scenario. Question 16. You are the Chief Information Security Officer for a large multinational bank. The bank operates across multiple countries with a vast network infrastructure to support its global operations. Recently, you observed an increase in cybersecurity incidents, including advanced persistent threats targeting the bank's critical financial systems. Your CEO has asked you to implement stronger security measures to protect the bank's financial systems. Which of the following security measures is most appropriate for detecting and mitigating advanced persistent threats in this scenario? A. Deploy honeypots to lure attackers away from crucial financial systems. B. Enhance employee cybersecurity training programs to recognize APT indicators. C. Implement IDS and IPS at network boundaries. D. Conduct regular penetration testing to identify weaknesses in financial systems. Here we are going to be going with option C. The IDS and IPS, they are proactive approaches to help identify and stop advanced persistent threats before they can cause harm. Now the IPS and IDS, they are designed to continuously monitor network traffic for suspicious activities and known attack patterns. They can detect signs of advanced persistent threats like unusual traffic patterns, malicious activities, or data exfiltration attempts. The IDS can alert security teams to the potential intrusions, while the IPS can automatically take action to block these threats in real time. So by deploying IDS and IPS at the network boundaries, you will ensure that all incoming and outgoing traffic is scrutinized, and this provides a comprehensive security layer to protect the critical financial systems. Question 17. What is the difference between symmetric and asymmetric encryption? Option A. Symmetric encryption uses different keys for encryption and decryption, while asymmetric encryption uses the same key for both. Option B. Symmetric encryption uses the same key for both encryption and decryption, while asymmetric encryption uses a pair of keys, one for encryption and one for decryption. Option C. Symmetric encryption uses quantum keys, while asymmetric encryption uses traditional keys. Option D. Symmetric encryption requires internet access, while asymmetric encryption does not. The correct answer here is option B. Symmetric encryption uses the same key for both encryption and decryption, while asymmetric encryption uses two keys, one for encryption and the other for decryption. So that's the major difference between symmetric and asymmetric. When you think of symmetric, think of same key, single key. So that should give you a clue that one key is used for encryption and decryption, while asymmetric uses two keys, one for encryption, one for decryption. Question 18. Describe what a firewall is and its role in network security. A. A firewall is a network security device that compresses data. Its role is to enhance network speed and reduce data load. B. A firewall is a network security device that manages user access. Its role is to ensure that only authenticated users can access the network. C. A firewall is a network security device or software that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing traffic based on predetermined security rules. Its role is to establish a barrier between a trusted internal network and untrusted external network to prevent unauthorized access and cyber threats. D. A firewall is a tool for measuring network performance. Its role is to provide insights into network efficiency and identify bottlenecks. The answer here is option C. A firewall is a device that monitors and controls incoming and outgoing network traffic based on predetermined security rules. Question 19. Zero Trust architecture primarily aims to protect against which type of threat? A. External threats only. B. Internal threats only. C. Both internal and external threats. D. Environmental threats. The answer is option C. The Zero Trust architecture is a security concept based on the principle of never trust, always verify. Traditionally, network security models relied on the assumption that anything inside the network perimeter is trustworthy, while anything outside it's not. However, with the increasing sophistication of cyber threats, this model has become outdated and ineffective. The Zero Trust architecture, on the other hand, challenges this assumption by advocating for the strict verification of all users, devices, and applications, regardless of if they are inside the network or outside the network. This means that even if a user is within the network boundary, they are not automatically trusted. Zero Trust architecture aims to protect against both internal and external threats because it recognizes that threats can originate from both inside and outside the network. Inside threats could be employees with malicious intent or compromised credentials, while external attackers could be the malware or the bad actors. So by continuously verifying identities, enforcing least privilege access, and inspecting all network traffic, the Zero Trust architecture helps organizations to mitigate the risk of cyber attacks and data breaches from any source. Question 20. Which of the following technologies is commonly used to implement Zero Trust architecture? A. Identity and access management. B. Firewall. C. VPN. D. Network address translation or NAT. The answer is option A. The identity and access management is a fundamental concept of the Zero Trust architecture because it provides the necessary mechanisms for verifying identities, controlling access, enforcing security policies, as well as the continuous monitoring of trust levels within the network environment. Now, it is a system designed to manage digital identities and control access to resources within the organization's network. So that is why we are going with the identity and access management system. This brings us to the end of the video for Domain 4. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the notification bell to watch new videos when they are dropped. Please subscribe, share, follow, like. Drop your comments also in the comment section if this video has been of help to you in your preparation towards the certification exam. I'll see you all in the next video. Thank you.